Hi, welcome to our Building Community Check-in. I'm Sharon Knight, President and CEO of Hope Communities, which is a nonprofit that's been providing housing, educational programs, and support services for some of the most vulnerable in Denver for 40 years. We started these shows during quarantine because we knew that people would feel isolated, that they would want some reliable information about the pandemic, and they would need resources to help get them through. We hosted this show for about the last 20 weeks with providing just those things, an update on the best practices, the new regulations, and new standards related to COVID-19, updates on resources available to you. And by the way, we're also posting these on our website at hopecommunities.org. We sometimes share inspirational stories and quotes, and we often share activities that will help you to enhance your health and well-being. We want you to be able to get through this time, and I know it's going on much longer than any of us want to deal with, but we want you to be healthy, we want you to feel well, and we want you to have the resources so that you and your family can thrive. The episode today will provide a little bit of general information about the virus, but we'll also have a cooking demonstration that includes some of the foods that we offer to clients with our weekly distribution of vegetables, fruits, and staples. So good food, but easily accessible ingredients. So we're posting all of these videos on our Facebook page after our live event, so you can go back and review for any information, or if you want to rewatch the video on how to cook this meal, it's always available to you. We also know that some people watch this after the event goes live, and so please feel free to do that and to share the video link with anyone that you think can benefit. And if you need some support, if you need resources, or if you have questions, please feel free to email us at info@hopecommunities.org. We're there to help. We just need to know what you need. So in terms of news, the number of new cases for each week has declined a couple of weeks in a row, but that doesn't mean that we're still not having new cases, and it doesn't mean that each day doesn't fluctuate. In fact, it does. So we are just getting less total cases for the week. Hopefully we can keep that trend up. It seems like, and experts think, that the state mandate for using masks inside in public spaces has helped significantly, as has the closure of bars at an earlier time. So the largest spikes have been in young people who have been flocking to bars or congregating in larger groups, and the drop in the number of new cases was noticeable when the bars closed at an earlier time. So please keep that up, even if you're not in a bar. That sense of congregating together is what really helps those figures to move forward. So according to the latest data from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, there are 51,039 cases for the state. So we've had 6,600 people hospitalized, a little bit over that. And we have had more than 1,850 deaths for those who tested positive for COVID-19. So it's a serious, serious thing. We need to really pay attention to all of the guidelines that are posted for us. They are evidence-based, and they clearly are making a difference. If we follow those guidelines, we will have less growth in this horrible pandemic, and maybe sometime in the near future, get back to our regular lives. In Denver County itself, there have been 10,263 confirmed cases as of yesterday, and over 400 deaths. So again, please take this seriously. Experts are concerned about when schools start, which is why we're seeing school districts really go back and forth about when they might actually get together in person. Some are doing it, some are not, but bringing all those kids together certainly is a critical point of contention, because there's so many people, it's hard to keep them socially distanced. Experts are concerned about colleges going back because some of the colleges are allowing students to move back into dorms, which again could spell an opportunity for too much group activity. So regular testing will be really important. Maintaining the regulations, even if you are in a dorm room or dorm building, will be really important to help keep those figures down. So there are a few new test sites that have opened up. So the governor just announced two the other day. One is at the Aurora Sports Park, which is located at 300 East Colfax Avenue. And the testing there is free. It's a drive up, so it's quick and easy, and it's open from 8 to 4 daily. The testing there and also the next one, they're provided through Mako Medical. So they actually do the testing and they do the analysis. We understand that you should get results in about 4 days, but people that I've talked with at other sites are not getting them back for a little bit longer. Hopefully that'll change. There is a link online to register for these sites. The second one is at Water World, which is up at 8801 Pecos Street in Federal Heights. That one again is open 8 to 4. Again, if you don't have to register ahead of time, but it's really encouraged that you do. So the Pepsi Center, of course, remember, is still open for drive-through testing daily, and that's at 1000 Chopper Circle. You enter for that at 7th and Auraria, and they also are open on Saturdays from 8 to 12, so that's good. There's been some other places that have popped up on a daily basis, and I think you have to go and look at different websites, but some of the sites have been just like for a one-time partial day event, have been Revision out on Morrison Road, the Swansea Rec Center, Montbello High School, and Servicio de la Raza. There's also some of the Stride clinics that are open around town. There's various locations. So check for those on the website. There's a couple that are in Douglas County that are specific point in time drive-ups. One will be on August 13th at the CU Denver South campus in Lone Tree, and another will be on August 25th at the Pace Center in Parker. Those sites on those days are open to people who live or work in that county. And I think you might want to get there early. They're open from 9 to 1, and they do the test until they run out, and they only have 200 tests per day per location. The tests are free, and in that case, there are some requirements. Those are for people who work in a high risk or high priority occupation, who live in a long-term care facility or traveled recently to where they might have had contact with people with COVID-19. So the other ones were more open to the general public, but these have a little bit more specific requirements in Douglas County. Whatever the case might be, whether you have been around somebody who had COVID-19 or you work somewhere where you believe you might have been exposed, or if you're in a high-risk occupation, it may be helpful for you to get a test. And of course, if you have any symptoms, you should be calling your health provider and talking about the symptoms that you have to see if you need a test at all. So make sure you make those contacts. I know a lot of people have not been going to the doctors because they're worried that they will be exposed to somebody with COVID-19, but at least make that call. If you're a Kaiser client, you can also email your doctor online and just tell them what you're feeling or some of the symptoms and see what they say. So keep on reaching out and getting that advice. I know I say this quite often, but I really hope that you will take wearing the mask and keeping social distance very, very seriously. I know people are getting so frustrated to have to keep doing all of this. And people are on edge. They're so over being confined, all the requirements and all the other ramifications of the pandemic. They miss their friends, and people are starting to get impatient. I am so sorry that we're all having to go through this, but please, please take care of yourself, and also be cautious to take care of others. Keep that space, wear that mask, and please try to be kind to others. As you know, random acts of kindness help other people, but research shows it also could help you. And here's a quote to accent that. That's actually by Princess Diana. She said, "Carry out random acts of kindness, safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you." And then, of course, Desmond Tutu said, "Your ordinary acts of love and hope point to the extraordinary promise that every human life is of inestimable value." So in an effort to be kind to yourself, we are going to share another cooking demonstration today. Our guest presenter is Beth Fisher, who has delighted us before with her cooking demonstrations that are geared specifically to feature ingredients that we are distributing to families on Wednesdays at Hidden Brook and then at other sites other days. Today, she is making a rice and bean bowl. So please watch her video instruction, share that with anybody who you think might benefit from that, and then please come back for the end of our show. Thanks.
Hello, Hope Communities. My name is Beth Fisher, and I'm here to provide another cooking demonstration. A simple meal that uses some of the food that you get from typical food pantries. What we're going to make today is a rice and bean bowl. So let me show you the ingredients that we'll be using for this recipe. So this is our ingredient list. We're going to be using beans that are already pre-cooked. So if you have dry beans, I would suggest you soak them overnight and cook them. And then we're going to be using rice, which I will not show you just now because it's over on my stove. And then a variety of herbs and fresh vegetables. So we have a carrot or cucumber, some green onions, cilantro, an avocado, a tomato. And then for the rice, we have some rosemary and mint and peppers and garlic. And then a variety of spices that we'll be using, both for the beans and the rice. So I'll explain those as we go along. And then as an optional, you can use shredded cheese. So that's what our ingredients look like, pretty simple and straightforward. And then I'll start demonstrating how we prepare them. Okay, here's my cooking area. We're gonna first start preparing the different bits that we need for this meal. So we're going to put in with the beans some peppers and grated ginger and a little bit of garlic. So I'm going to start by chopping up my peppers finely. These are very small peppers, but you can use whatever peppers you have. If you like some spice, I would encourage you to use some jalapeno as well. I think I'm going to do that. I forgot to get that out, but jalapeno peppers would be really good with this. I just tend to remove the seeds. These small peppers don't really have many seeds, but your bigger peppers might, and you don't want to use those. So I'm just going to chop up my peppers. You could also use some onion if you have it. I'm kind of out of onion, so I'm not going to be using onion for this. So I'm just chopping up my peppers into a fine dice, as you can see here. And then I am going to add some jalapenos. So adding a jalapeno pepper. And this, I do want to make sure I'm careful about removing the seeds. And make sure you're not touching your eyes. I'm sure if any of you are used to cooking with hot peppers, you know they can be pretty nasty if you get it on your hands or touch your eyes. So in this case, I'm going to remove all the peppers from the jalapeno. It's easy to do, just rinse those seeds out. And I think I'll probably just use one jalapeno in this case, but again, I'm making this for just 2 people. So you could adjust the amount of ingredients you need for the number of people you're serving. And I'm going to dice my jalapenos very fine. Okay, so I've got my peppers all chopped up and ready to go, and these will go into the beans. And then I'm going to chop up a few of my other vegetables that I'm going to be using as toppings on the beans and rice. So this will all make sense once everything is put together. So I have a cucumber here. I'm going to use part of a cucumber and make a small dice in the cucumber. For the cucumber, I want to remove the seeds. So I'm going to take a spoon and just scrape the seeds out. I tend to leave the skins on my cucumber, but you can easily peel them. It's probably not a bad idea. I just forgot to do it. So, and I'm going to cut these cucumbers in very small little dice, because this is we're gonna make almost like a little bit of a relish to go on top of our beans and rice. And that's what we're going to use the cucumbers for. So I'm cutting up the cucumbers very small. You see here, very small. And I'll probably end up with about, for 2 people, maybe half a cup of cucumbers, half a cup of diced cucumbers. And again, all I did was pull out the seeds from the middle and dicing this up. Okay. Now, I'm going to get a bowl, which I forgot to get, to show you how I'm going to mix these things that will go on top of the rice and beans. Okay, so here's my bowl. I'm going to add my cucumber to this bowl because I'm just going to mix all this up. And then I'm going to cut a tomato, and we're going to put diced tomatoes in here as well. And again, this is all for the topping for the rice and beans, which gives it a nice crunch and color and freshness. So I'm going to move my bowl out of over here, but show you again just chopping the tomatoes into a small dice. And for 2 people, I'm just using one tomato, but you can make this however you want depending on what you like. So a potato dice. All right, and I'm going to also add those tomatoes then, just in with my cucumbers. Now I'm going to add some green onion. So I washed these green onions earlier. I'm going to use 2 green onions, cutting off the bottom part, which we don't want to use. And then again, just small slices of green onions that we're also going to mix in with the tomatoes and cucumbers. And I slice them to get up to the green because the green adds some nice color. So you can see I have a handful of green onions. I'm going to put those in the bowl as well. And then I'm going to add some cilantro. Just also chopping the cilantro up a little bit. Probably about 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Throw that in there. And then my last ingredient for what will be going on top of the rice and beans is avocado, because I happen to have some avocado. Again, all these things you can adjust as you want. I happen to love avocado, so I'm going to put it in, but it's not an essential ingredient. So just peeling the skin off the avocado. And I'm going to dice this up a little bit. Okay, so my avocado is prepared like that. That's all going in the bowl. And I'm going to season all this with some salt and pepper and a little bit of lime juice. You could use lime or lemon, whatever you happen to have. What this will do will be to help keep the avocado from turning brown as well. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit of lime juice in here, some salt, some pepper, and stir it all up. So if you can see this will be our topping for our rice and beans. Now let's start on preparation of the beans. What we're going to do with the beans is cook them with some garlic and grated ginger and our peppers. So I'm going to grate my ginger. I have some fresh ginger here. Again, this isn't required, but it can taste nice if you have it. And I'll probably put in about a tablespoon of ginger. There we go. And I'm going to then show you how to prepare the rest of the beans over at the stove. Okay, now we're going to prepare our beans, and we're going to use a kind of a frying pan, put it on about medium heat, and then add a little bit of olive oil to the pan, probably about just a teaspoon or 2. We'll use that to cook the garlic and the ginger and the peppers. So I'm just going to let that heat up a little bit. And get my peppers ready. Should have a bowl for this, but I don't. Okay, so within here I'm going to add my peppers. I'm going to add the grated ginger that we just prepared. And I'm going to add some garlic. I happen to have the garlic that comes in a jar, but you could certainly use real garlic. I just find this sort of easier to use. So I put in probably a teaspoon of garlic. And this is just going to cook for a little bit until it starts getting brown and aromatic. Put the light on, maybe that will make it easier to see. Okay, so while that's cooking a little, I'm also going to demonstrate how to cook the rice. So I have a cup of rice in here and a cup and a half of water, and I've been letting my rice soak for about 20 minutes. The reason for doing that is it makes the rice cook faster if you pre-soak it. This is just a regular white rice, but what I'm going to do is make it a little bit more flavorful than plain white rice by adding a few ingredients. You could make this recipe very easily with just white rice and it would be delicious, but I wanted to do a few other things to the rice to give it some color and some additional flavor. And the way I do that is to add certain spices and ingredients. So I'm going to move these over here and show you how I go about doing that. So you can see this is just a bowl of rice. I'm going to take some turmeric, which is a yellow powder, and just put in some turmeric into the water, not much at all, probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon. It will just give the rice, will come out with a nice yellow color. The other thing I'm going to do is just to add some spices. So in this case, I'm going to add some whole allspice, but you could use other things. You could use whole coriander. I'm going to put in about 6 or so of them. I'm going to put in a stick of cinnamon. 1 stick should be enough. And then I have some rosemary from my herb garden, so I'm going to throw that in too. So if we're going to come here and just take a look at what the pot looks like with the rice. Now I'm going to put that on the burner, cover it up, and it should take about 8 to 10 minutes to cook. You'll see that when the water is absorbed, the rice will be done. I have the burner on about medium-high heat. Now, if we come over here, we're starting to see our peppers and garlic and ginger sauteing nicely. And just let that cook a little bit longer. Okay, now our rice is pretty much finished cooking. You can see most of the water is absorbed. What I'm going to do is remove if you could smell this, you'd smell that it smells wonderful. I'm going to remove the spices and cinnamon from the rice and set that aside. Meanwhile, let me show you the beans. So I've added the beans to the sauteed peppers. If you remember, we have jalapenos, red and yellow peppers, some ginger and garlic, and I've just added the beans to this, and I'm heating them up. And then I'm going to give this a curry flavor, so I'm going to just sprinkle in some curry powder into the beans, probably about a good 1.5 teaspoons or so. And stir that up. That will coat and flavor the beans. So these are just sauteing and heating, but remember the beans are already cooked. So all you really need to do is heat them up at this point. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. And you can taste these and see if they're seasoned to your liking. You can see they're just being sauteed and they have just a little bit of color from the peppers and the jalapenos. I really like curry powder, so I might add even a little bit more. All right. So these look like they're pretty well done. Just going to sample to make sure they're hot enough. Move back over to my rice for a minute to take out my seasonings. The rice, when prepared this way, has a really nice fluffy quality about it, and then that pretty yellow color from the turmeric. All right, so I think we're ready for assembly. So we're going to move over here and assemble our bean and rice bowls. So I'm just using some shallow bowls here. What I'm going to do is first scoop out some rice into each bowl. You can see I'm making a mound of rice in each bowl. Then I'm going to top them with our bean mixture. So there are beans. And then, if you want to add cheese, this is the point at which you might add some cheese. So I'm going to sprinkle some cheese on top of this. And because of the hot beans and rice, it will melt the cheese a bit. And then I'm going to put on our topping. So I actually have probably more topping here than I need for these two bowls. So I probably will not use all that I have, and I'll save it and use it. Just eat it as a salad or something sometime. So I'm putting the topping on. And there we have it, a rice and bean bowl. I hope you enjoy.
Well, thanks, Beth. That was great. You know, a member of our staff has been watching Beth's videos and then trying those recipes for her family. And she hasn't cooked before. And Beth's style of step-by-step going through the recipes and talking about the different ingredients has been so helpful. And the staff member has been really delighted with the results. Even if you are a seasoned cook, I hope that you will try the recipe. Let us know how it is. It looks really delicious. So as part of every Facebook Live event, we also have been sharing a book review. And we've had members of the community, our staff, our volunteers, recording these reviews for us because we know that a lot of people are reading more as they've been in quarantine or they've been at home more. We want to help you to build your reading list. We do try to find books that are available at the public library and hopefully for download because it's a little bit more challenging with curbside pickup these days. And we'd love for you to be able to read books without having to have the expense to purchase them, even though if you are able to, it'd be great for you to support your local bookstore. So let me know if you want to do a review yourself. You could email me at info@hopecommunities.org and I'd be happy to talk with you about that. Today, we have a book review on a book called Fresh Start. And it's actually a cookbook by Julie Rosso. It is a guide for beginning a healthy, low-fat lifestyle, which does not sound that exciting, but it's delicious food, so you won't feel bad doing it. And it provides a step-by-step in changing old habits and creating new, better ones. So I like this cookbook a lot because it uses natural foods and it cooks in a way that brings out natural, healthy flavors. They're just so delicious. Julie Rosso has made several cookbooks. One early on was co-written, and it was the Silver Palette cookbook. You might have heard of that. She embeds some humor in her cookbook, and she has really great pictures and good definition about food. So it's really fun, I think, to read and to explore recipes with her. They do have a copy in the library, but it's not available for download now. But you could order it for curbside pickup. And then also, it is available at Amazon for about $10, so not a super expensive purchase, and it's really good to have in store. There's also, I just want to take a couple more minutes because there's another cookbook that is newer in her list, and it is called Great Good Food. So similar in style, it has recipes with really healthy food and easy cooking techniques, but it also explores some international flavors. And since we have a lot of people that we serve from around the world, I thought you might want to check that out. They have some recipes like for young goat, for lamb, and all kinds of vegetable dishes. And they even have a special chapter on zucchini, which we know right now is everywhere. It's prolific. So you might want to check that book out as well. You'll love either one of these cookbooks. They're really fun. So that's our show for today. We will be back on Tuesday, and I hope you will join us then. Please continue to make good choices and help your family to make good choices about wearing masks, about social distance, about checking with your doctors if you have any symptoms at all. We sure want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want your whole family to be well. If you need anything at all, please reach out to us for assistance at info@hopecommunities.org. We want to help you. We just need to know what you need. Thanks so much, and bye now.